Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that literally every single language learner grapples with: consistency over intensity, and why it's the real secret to English fluency. Look, if you're studying English right now, you know exactly how frustrating the journey can be. You put in the hours, you study hard, but sometimes it feels like you're just running in place, right? Well, today, we're completely flipping the script. We're going to show you how a totally different approach can finally unlock that fluency you've been chasing.
If you've ever sat there and asked yourself, man, why is my English progress so slow? I want to validate that frustration for you right out of the gate. It is completely 100% normal. You know, when we start something new, our inner voice usually gets pretty impatient. It starts whispering these uncomfortable little comments, asking why it's taking so long, or pointing out that everyone else seems to be moving so much faster. And honestly, that voice sounds so confident, like it absolutely knows the truth, even when it really doesn't. You might feel like you're showing up, doing the work, but nothing's actually changing. And that heavy feeling, yeah, it can totally drain your motivation.
A lot of that heavy feeling comes because we get trapped in the comparison game. You log online, you see people speaking fluently, traveling, succeeding, always smiling. But, as our sources remind us, you're not seeing their full story. You don't see their struggles, their doubts, or those incredibly slow days they had. You're just watching their highlight reel. So comparing your real, ordinary, everyday life to someone else's absolute best moments, it's deeply unfair to yourself. It can completely overshadow your own hard-earned progress and make your totally normal, steady growth feel like a failure.
So, let's shift that mindset right now. We really need to talk about why slow progress actually wins. When you first start learning English, everything is brand new, so progress feels super fast and exciting. But why does it naturally slow down later on? Well, it's because you're no longer just skimming the surface. You're getting into the smaller details, the deeper grammar rules, all those subtle cultural nuances. Listen, slow does not mean wrong. Slow often means you're working on something real, something deep that just can't be rushed. When things slow down, it actually means you are building a rock-solid foundation.
The honest truth is, real progress usually looks entirely ordinary. We tend to think growth should feel like some dramatic movie montage, but in reality, true progress happens in very small moments that are incredibly easy to miss. It's things like finally understanding a spoken sentence without having to translate every single word in your head first. It's feeling just a tiny bit less terrified to speak, even if your voice is shaking a little. It's choosing to try again after you stumble over a word, rather than just giving up, or even having the confidence to say, I don't know yet, without panicking. These moments don't come with fireworks, but make no mistake, these small, quiet moments, they are massive victories.
So, if slow, quiet progress is the reality, how do we actually support it? Well, the answer from across all our source material is completely unanimous: consistency over intensity. Building a daily, manageable habit is just infinitely more effective than those exhausting, infrequent study binges. We really have to stop viewing language learning as a massive test we need to cram for and start looking at it as a daily muscle we just need to stretch.
Think about the old way of learning. You know, sitting down and studying for 3 hours straight every Sunday. What actually happens? You feel overwhelmed, you probably forget the vocabulary by Wednesday, and you inevitably burn out because it just takes way too much motivation to even start. Now compare that to just 15 minutes every day. Doing that bypasses your brain's natural resistance to hard work. It builds incredibly strong habits, and because you're touching the language every single day, the retention and long-term results will absolutely crush that 3-hour binge method.
So the absolutely crucial number here is 15. Bold, simple, achievable. Just 15 minutes of focused daily practice is literally all it takes to build real momentum. As one of our sources points out, taking just a fraction of an hour to listen, read, or speak every single day is enough to fundamentally change your trajectory. It's really not about finding huge blocks of free time. It's about carving out a tiny little sliver of your day every single day.
But, of course, finding the time is only half the battle, right? We also have to tackle the emotional side of learning. Progress needs safety to happen. A lot of people think being super strict and harsh with themselves will somehow force them to improve faster. But the reality? Strict self-judgment just creates fear. And fear makes you hide, it makes you avoid speaking, and ultimately, it makes you want to give up. Kind thinking, on the other hand, creates a safe space for growth. Treating yourself with the exact same patience you'd offer a friend is actually a highly strategic learning tool.
So how do we actually put that into practice? First off, reframe your mistakes. If you accidentally say she don't instead of she doesn't, don't panic. Just use it as a simple cue to revisit that specific rule. Next, celebrate the small wins. Did you ask someone for directions in English today? That is a huge win. Third, try tracking your progress by keeping a tiny, one-sentence daily journal. Just jot down, "Today I tried," or "Today I listened." On tough days, that is more than enough. And finally, take small daily risks to speak out loud. Trust me, the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that's great, but I don't actually have anyone to speak with. Well, our sources are super clear on this. You absolutely do not need a classroom or even a human partner to get better at speaking. Let's take a look at some really powerful, totally accessible tools you can use to practice speaking English completely alone.
Welcome to your new modern advantage, the AI practice loop. Our sources outline a really specific routine using tools like ChatGPT or Gemini. Basically, you literally just open the app on your phone, turn on the voice or live camera feature, and say, "I am learning English. Ask me easy questions one by one and give me a sentence starter." Then, and this is the absolute key, you speak your answer out loud using the microphone. You listen to the AI's feedback, and then you repeat the corrected sentence. It's like having a free, infinitely patient, 24/7 conversation partner right in your pocket. It's a game changer.
You can also use highly structured resources to guide these solo sessions, like Robin Shaw's 100 Questions. Having a basic list of common questions, stuff like, "What's your favorite food?" or "What did you do last night?" gives you immediate, stress-free material. You can read these out loud, answer them to yourself in the mirror, or feed them directly into your AI tool to practice your conversational flow without having to constantly invent new topics yourself.
Beyond AI, you can seamlessly weave these speaking habits right into your daily routine. Try something called shadowing. Watch a TV show with subtitles, then turn them off and try to repeat the dialogue out loud. Talk to yourself while you're cooking, walking, or commuting. Literally just describe what you're doing. "I am chopping the onions." Always try to learn full phrases, not just isolated words, so the grammar sinks in naturally. And at the end of the day, try telling a short story about your day out loud, even if no one else is listening. You're basically turning your daily life into your own personal classroom.
Okay, so we've covered the mindset and the methods, now it's time for execution. Based on our source material, we've distilled everything down into a manageable, highly effective 2-week action plan. If you've been feeling stuck, this is exactly how you break out of that rut and completely change your language learning trajectory starting today.
Here is your 14-day challenge. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to commit to these 4 things. First, listen to English every single day. Just immerse your ears in the rhythm of the language. Second, spend just 15 minutes speaking out loud, using the AI tools or the solo habits we just talked about. Third, aggressively stop comparing yourself to fluent speakers on social media. Just don't do it. And fourth, compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. Focus entirely on your own tiny daily improvements.
I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful quote from the sources. Confidence does not come before action, it comes from action. So many learners sit on the sidelines waiting until they feel ready or perfect before they finally speak up. But perfection is not the goal here. Communication is. If you wait until you feel fully ready, you are literally going to be waiting forever. Every single time you speak, even with mistakes, you are actively building the exact confidence you're looking for.
Which brings us to our final question for you to ponder today. Will you keep waiting to feel completely ready, or will you start your 15 minutes today? Your journey is unique, your progress is very real, and the tools you need are right in front of you. It's time to stop studying so intensely and start practicing consistently. Get out there, be kind to yourself, and just start speaking. Thanks for watching The Explainer, and we'll see you in the next one.